My next guest is a Manchester-born gent who grew up getting Manchester United shirts for his birthdays, dreaming that the playground at Button Lane Primary School would become the field at Old Trafford and that he could be Wayne Rooney. Incredibly, by the time he was 18, he'd become Rooney's teammate at United and has proceeded to score more than 130 goals for the club in just over 400 appearances. It's a joy to welcome back a man who also used to wear a Tim Howard jersey as a kid. It's Marcus Rashford.
Hi, Roger.
Oh, Marcus, we are talking just days after the Manchester derby when you stopped the world with a strike that was carved out of equal parts technique and thunder and fury. And I know the result ultimately didn't go United's way, but take us into that moment. The ball drops down in front of you. What goes through your head decision-wise? The shot, the goal, the moment?
I think you have limited time to make a decision. So when you see an opening, you just have to go for it. You have to back yourself, and it's a difficult technique when the ball's coming, sort of across your body. But yeah, not to overthink it, and just try and get a clean contact. Once you make the decision that you're going to shoot, just try and get a clean strike.
Did you know it was in as soon as you hit it?
It's got a chance, just off the connection. But with the quality of keepers, in this generation, I feel from when you're striking from such far out, it's less likely to score. So it's probably not the best option in most moments. But like I said, you've got to take the opening when you see it.
You say it wasn't the best option. Wayne Rooney once came on this show and he said on shots like that from that far away, when you're trying to hit them with that kind of fury, there's always a chance, and in the back of your mind you may look like an idiot when they fly into Rosie and the crowd just make their like, hey, that noise. Does that ever cross your mind, or do you just think top corner?
No, you don't really think about missing. You always, I think as a player, you think every shot you take's gonna go in. So yeah, I think you're aware, from moments when you have, miss hit or stuff like that it can have that sort of reaction, but it doesn't stop you from trying them, and that's the joy of football.
Yeah, that's the joy of being good at football, Marcus. The rest of us are all inhibited by failure, but as you ran to that corner flag, the on-field mics picked up. It was almost a primal yell, your trademark celebration where you place your fingertip against your temple, and it seemed more urgent, more powerful. Can you describe what emotions you were experiencing in that second, in that moment? What message were you delivering? Did it feel like a release?
I just think in them types of games, and probably the biggest games, the biggest atmospheres, you're not really thinking too much about the celebration, to be honest. It's just the energy that you're being given is what you give back. So yeah, you don't really remember that much of the actual celebration. It's just a moment of togetherness between the players and the fans. And yeah, it's intense.
It sounds surprising to say, but you are now 26 years old, and you're one of the veterans already of this United team. I think only 3 players have been with the club at the senior level longer than you have, Marcus. And I don't know if you feel that your experience has given you the ability to, to talk to younger players coming through. Like take Kobe Mainoo, who is like you, a local Manchester lad, like you, made his first team debut aged 18. Can you talk about Kobe, his breakthrough, his impact, and have you given him any advice?
I think he's a really relaxed player. He's composed, he's confident in his abilities, and I think it's vital, to be a midfielder for United. You have to want the ball all the time, and you have to be able to have the skill set and the abilities that he has in order to play in the highest level of games. So to be honest, that's not the bits that surprised me about him. It's just his general aura. I think that's what makes him a little bit different to players in the country, not just at Man United. but he takes the biggest moments in his stride. You know, nothing seems to phase him, and it's a huge skill set to have playing for Man United, and you know, he has it just natural. So I think for a player like him, it's not so much, you know, what you tell him. I think is very sure in his abilities, and he's going to play what he sees fit, which is a huge skill set in his own. So I think it's about encouraging him to do that. You know, he's getting fed lots of messages and, you know, try this and do that. So not taking away his natural ability, his natural instincts is probably the biggest thing that we can do from his players. So it's probably almost the opposite for me. I always tell him play what he sees. So I feel like that's his key strengths as a player and what he does naturally very, very well. So don't turn away from that and tell someone to do anything different to what he's really good at.
I mentioned your debut, February 25th, 2016. You trotted on, scored twice against Midtjylland in the Europa League. You backed that up 3 days later with 2 more goals and an assist in your Premier League debut, that 3-2 win against Arsenal. What has changed in how you experience the game, how you see the game now compared to then?
I'd probably say a lot of different factors come into it, but when you separate everything, it's the same game of football. You know, you have the same hunger to perform, and it's the games earlier on in your career, they're very unique because, you know, like I mentioned before, I touched on it. When you do something for the first time, it's always going to be different to the 10th time you do it. So the general feeling is there's going to be a slight difference, but in terms of preparation and stuff, you have to try and prepare for the games as well as you can, and it's difficult to really set aside games early on and games later on in your career. You just know that you have more knowledge of each fixture and each atmosphere that you go into, whether it's home or away. So I guess in terms of that, you can sort of differentiate the two.
What would 2018 Marcus Rashford think of 2024 Marcus Rashford? And what would you at 26 say to your 18-year-old self?
Yeah, I think they're two very different people, but off the pitch, it's the same me. So like I said, in terms of preparation and stuff, it's the same as what I'd tell myself. Back then, I'd give myself the same messages, but it's probably as time goes on and you just, you know, your time playing in these big games and biggest moments, don't take it for granted, and you know, really enjoy the moments, no matter how tough and how difficult they are at the time. Find joy in it, and try and remember each moment because they are special too.
Marcus, you've been a United supporter your entire life. You've said sometimes when you look around Old Trafford before kick-off, you soak in the experience, both as a fan and a football player. As a United fan and a player, what's your message to supporters about what they can expect for the rest of the season?
I think, you know, the season's obviously not gone as we planned, but we can't dwell on the moments that we've missed. We have to look forward, and we've got huge moments still available to us. So all of the players' focus and the staff's focus is purely on, you know, the FA Cup and getting back into the top four. So you know, hopefully we can manage to do that, and you know, the players and the staff are going to give 100%. But yeah, I think, you know, winning the FA Cup is definitely the biggest aim and objective, because I think as players we want to write our names in the history books, and you know, you can only do that by winning trophies. So yeah, top four is important and it's something that we're definitely aiming to do. But winning the FA Cup is probably the key thing for us.
Last question, Marcus, because I know you're a massive basketball fan. You've swapped shirts with players like Giannis and NWA All-Star Sabrina Ionescu. And I know a ton of NBA players live to watch the Premier League. When you watch basketball, does it feel like a completely different sport to football? Or do you see the similarities in the way the players find and use space, they pass, they rely on teamwork?
Yeah, there's some similarities. I just find it very interesting in terms of, meeting individuals and seeing how different individuals have to think and prepare for games. But in the end of it, how they all make it gel into, working well with one another, which is where we can probably relate best. So yeah, it's using skill sets, like you said, finding space, movements, timing, and yeah, knowing each other's strengths as well as your own strengths and playing to them.
We had Bukayo Saka on last week. He said it's going to be the Boston Celtics year. Tell us your pick, Marcus. Who do you support and who'll be the NBA champions?
I can't. I don't really have a one single team, which kind of sounds bad, but I have a lot of friends and a lot of athletes that play in the NBA, so I just support them when I can, and I really just enjoy learning about the game. It's not something that I grew up watching on or speaking to players that are involved in it. So learning about the game is unique and special. But yeah, I've got a lot of friends in the NBA that I support. So yeah, I don't have one team.
Who's your best mate in basketball?
I'd probably say, well, the biggest star that I've spoken to is probably LeBron.
Of course, you're on his show.
Yeah, I was on his talk show, and yeah, he's a top guy. But like I said, it's about learning about the athlete, and when I'm over there, I always try and go and watch some games, and it's always a interesting atmosphere, and they're quite unique. I've been to a few college games as well, and the sport it's everyone's passionate about the sport there. So the stadiums are really compact, and they're fitting a lot of people in the stadium. So it has a good atmosphere. But like I said, I'm fairly new to watching it, and so yeah, I'm more following individuals and just watching their journeys.
To you, Marcus, to your NBA fandom, your passion, your family and your future, it's incredible to speak with you, mate.
Thank you very much.